fact, there are still many there. There are many. I believe that those people, they said they are deep.
When you begin to hide yourself
of the business I'm doing, how to keep business, like customer business, receipts.
Hello and welcome to Talking Migration. Now, in recent weeks, the Nigerian government has been hosting world leaders in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. The first to arrive was British Prime Minister Theresa May, who vowed to assist the government in clamping down on the activities of human traffickers to Europe, as well as support victims of modern slavery who returned to the country. May also announced that Britain would help up to 1,700 migrants and slavery victims returning to Nigeria from Libya with counseling, training for jobs and community reintegration, as well as boost controls at the country's border and major airports in Lagos. Now, shortly after Theresa May's visit, President Muhammadu Buhari also hosted German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Merkel, on her part, vowed to assist the Nigerian government in reducing the rate at which citizens leave the country. President Buhari also warned Nigerians against illegally traveling to Europe at the risk of their lives. He also pledged to do everything to help bring back all stranded Nigerians home.
We are not, as an administration, agreeing for Nigerians to defy the desert, Sahara Desert, and the Mediterranean because they feel that there are greener pastures there, whether they are prepared for it or not. We do not support anything illegal and indisciplined. You must recall that about 6 weeks ago, we repatriated about 3,000 Nigerians that were stuck in Libya on their way to Europe. And you also must have read in the papers and must be seen in the televisions the number of Nigerians lost in the Mediterranean. So to us, this administration is very clear. We do not support anything illegal. And anybody who feels that his country does not value him, does not offer him what he should be offered as a citizen and decided to defy the desert and the Mediterranean, he's doing it at his own risk.
65% of the people who live in Nigeria are younger than 30 years. The president pointed that out to me, which is to say this is a young country that is very ambitious indeed, and we both agreed, the president and I, that the trafficking and migration, especially illegal migration, are problems that can only be tackled if we also provide an economic perspective for the young people of the countries in question. I would like to thank the President for the cooperation established in the field of migration. We still have a few things to do in that regard, but as I said, we are working on it and we intend to accompany it by providing legal ways of migration.
Meanwhile, ahead of the 73rd United Nations General Assembly in New York, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has accused European Union leaders of indirectly aiding human trafficking in Libya. Now, he says that the Libyans are being funded by EU leaders to keep mostly African migrants in detention camps to prevent them from crossing into Europe.
When Mr. President sent a delegation to Libya, beginning of last year, the point I made, that I tried to make very forcefully, was that that there seemed to be some complicity by European countries in the treatment of migrants in Libya. Why? Because the European countries pay the Libyans to maintain camps for these irregular migrants, and essentially what we felt they're doing is giving them money and telling them, do whatever you have to do, but just stop them getting to Europe. And the result of that is some of what you saw, on the television and the media terrible, terrible treatment and modern-day slavery in action against these, these migrants.
Venezuela is another country currently experiencing mass immigration. According to IOM, the inflow of Venezuelans to other Latin American countries is creating a crisis moment similar to events involving refugees crossing the Mediterranean over to Europe. IOM figures show that 2.3 million Venezuelans had already left the country in the 12 months to July, with South American neighbors hosting more than 1.5 million of them. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro has called on the country's emigrating citizens to return home. He has also launched a broad plan known as Return to the Homeland to counter mass immigration, which has seen to the return of about 100 people. That's back to the country. Now, back home in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari's comments on irregular migration has sparked mixed reactions from different quarters. While some people claim that the country has made significant progress, others think that we might not have made enough progress as we ought to. Now, shortly after this break, we'll be taking a look at the gains the country has made and is still making in the fight against irregular migration. Please don't go away. You're welcome back to the program. Now, joining me to discuss on these issues today is the Deputy Controller of Nigeria Immigration Service in Lagos State Command, Rufus Oweye. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, let me begin by asking you, when you talk about, the first thing that comes to mind when you mention immigration is passports. Yeah. Now, what else does Nigeria Immigration Service do apart from issuance of passports?
Okay, thank you, madam. Nigerian immigration is saddled with the responsibility of arriving foreigners into the country and allowing Nigerians who are desirous of going abroad, we depart them at the point of departure. We equally issued ECOWAS travel certificate to those to Nigerians, to desirable Nigerians who are who wanted to go to or who intends to go to West Coast, this ECOWAS region. So it's a booklet too, just like the passport issue, which its validity is for 2 years. Apart from that, the Immigration Service issued resident permit for foreigners or expats that come to invest or doing business or work in Nigeria. That is, those are desirous of residing. They come to Nigeria with STR visa, they bring all the relevant documents, then they are issued with a resident permit, which is, we call it green card or a SEPA card. It's green in color. It's part of our job. We equally do border surveillance. We have land border, we have air, and we have sea. In the land border, the officers are there, all the borders in Nigeria, we are all man the border. Then we have the air border patrol, which is situated in Kaduna. We have an aircraft that flies all over the place to check the illegal immigrants. And of course, we have some immigration attaché attached to foreign missions all over the world, where we are going to man the immigration desk to issue visa to foreigners who are desirous of coming to Nigeria. Those are part of our jobs, apart from issuance of passport. Then, of course, if the foreigners entered Nigeria, we monitor. We don't just allow them to come in and do what they like. They have to follow our rules and regulation. I mean immigration rules and regulation.
Now, talking about immigration rules and regulation, now that leads me to the issue of irregular migration. You are very much aware of the migration crisis we're currently facing in the country now. Nigeria immigration is very much involved in everything. When returnees come back to the country, particularly from Libya, they are there. You talked about borders and everything. Why is it, what do you think is responsible for this explosion that we're currently experiencing?
Let us put it like, well, let us say that the economic problem, some of them say that because they want to go out to go and better their lots. And of course, in some places, they use it as a status symbol. For example, we have states where when the father or the parent died and they want to put on their obituary paper, they will now write, Mr. is survived by children and grandchildren. Among them is Mr. James, Paris, Mr. Johnson, Italy, Mrs. This, Britain. Then the last man who is probably living in Nigeria, they will just put Josephine, University of Lagos, which means what they think is they want to increase their status symbol to tell people that their children are living abroad, not knowing what they are actually doing there. And of course, many of them, despite the fact that they know the problem involved in getting themselves up to that, to Europe, the risk involved, the loss of life, and a lot of things, they still risk because they believe that the European countries' roads are tied with dollars, and that they can go there and pick one or two. Only when they get there, they discover that they have no bearing. The government is not waiting for them over there. There's no job there for them. But they still, because people are there, telling them that, please come, this place is rosy. Until when they get to the middle of the road, maybe on transit camp in Morocco or Libya, then they get stranded. Here, they won't be able to come back to Nigeria. There, they won't be able to get to Europe. So not to come here and be humiliated, they would like to continue the journey. And in the process, they die in the sea. Some lost their life, and some were really incapacitated.
People keep leaving the country. Do you not think that in this fight, the Nigerian Immigration Service has been relegated to a secondary position, considering the fact that there are even many agencies fighting the crisis in the first place?
Let us put it like this. I'm not sure, I don't buy the idea that they are relegating us to the background or playing a second role, because we are going to be the first contact. Before you can travel out, you must obtain passport. You collect immigration, you obtain passport from Immigration Service. Then you proceed for visa in the respective countries of where you wanted to go. They give you visa. Then you appeared in the international airport about to travel. We require some basic requirement from you before we can allow you to go. Among others, a valid visa, the passport that we know is going to last you for about 6 months, which is 6 months more for expiration. Then you must have your BTA. If you're on transit, you must have your onward ticket visa or journey. You must have what do you call it? You must have enough money. Exactly. Yeah, because you don't want to be a public charge or a liability when you get to the place where you are going. All those ones we check. And of course, some of them get to the point of entry to where they are going, and they are repatriated. On that case, we have done our own bit in Nigeria before the departure. But I want to say that most of the irregular immigrants are not passing through the approved route.
Let's even talk about passports now.
Okay.
You say that you have to have basic requirements, yes. Visas, passports. Yes. In the past, it used to be at least relatively easy to get passports. Now, these days, it takes months. And that's not even to mention the outrageous amounts that you have to pay. They say there's no booklet. What does that even mean? Is it a financing issue, or is it a management problem when they say there's no booklet and then you have to wait to get your passport?
Yes, it's not a management problem. The booklets are not available because we get it through a private partnership, and we are not doing it in Nigeria. It is of recent that my Controller General, Mr. Muhammadu Baban Dede, MFR, is making frantic efforts to make sure that these passports are available for Nigerians. We know that in some recent time we have challenges in getting the passport, but we are making a serious effort by the service headquarters to make sure that this thing is available. I want to say again that the way Nigerians look at passports is different from all other travel documents. If you go to the bank now, you have a passport, they will give you all the facilities you need in the bank. In the alternative, they will say, go and bring your driving license. To get a driving license is more difficult than to get an international passport. And because of that, we have so many people who wanted to obtain Nigerian passport as a means of identity, not even for traveling. It's just a means of identity. They will have to go and show the bank. Anywhere you are going, you have 2 ID cards to give us. You either have a national ID card or you have an international passport. So that's why we have challenges. So many people are rushing to us to obtain the passport. And the service is doing a lot to ease the problem. In a short time, we will all smile when we have passport available.
Now, when passports are available, we hope that it will stem the rate at which people travel irregularly out of the country. Now, what is your agency doing on its own part to ensure that people at least go through the normal routes?
We have been advising them. Unfortunately, they don't come to immigration for information. The only contact we have with them is when they want to get passport. When they get their passport, they are off. They have to contact an agent. The agent tells them a lot of stories. They will tell them they can pass through anywhere and get to Europe. All they are looking for is the end means. They don't want to know how they get to Europe. Majority of them equally does not like to hear anything from immigration as if it's going to be an impediment. If you come to us for information, we will tell you the basic requirements. If I want to apply for visa, I will look at the website and provide all the relevant documents that I'm supposed to give the embassy. In case of Nigerians, we don't do that. All we need to do is to look for an agent and ask us to come and help us procure visa. And in the process, even some of them, they were given fake visa. It is when they get to the airport, when they want to fly on a particular airline, the airline will discover again that the visa issued to them is fake.
So what are some of the counter steps that the agency has taken now to check the actions of these travel agencies, fake travel agencies?
Well, what can we do to travel agencies? They are not working under us. We only deal with regular migration. The irregular ones don't come to us. If you come to the airport and you want to travel with a fake document, we won't allow you to depart. If you want to pass through the recognized border, we don't know the bush. We only know about our recognized border. If you want to pass through the recognized border, they won't allow you to pass because basic requirements must be fulfilled. But here, they don't pass through us. They only have to use the agent. You can imagine a man having about 6, 7 people, 7 girls on a bike. He wanted to cross inside the bush and take them through Cotonou to somewhere, we don't know. Maybe they are going to Libya or Morocco. The ladies were intercepted and we asked them the passport. The man said there is relations who wanted to go to Cotonou to go and buy second-hand cloth. We now ask him, what is your name? What is the name of this girl on the bike? He gave the name as Agnes. But the passport with lady is not Agnes. So the people in charge became curious and asked, what's your name? Second person on bike. Mention the name, bring the passport. It does not tally. And it was like he wanted to bribe his way because according to him, he usually passed through the route and he thought he has been successful. You know, it's a case of trial and error. Now that he has been caught, he has to open up. The children, he doesn't know them. They are going to Libya or Morocco or Spain because when we interviewed him, he told us that when he gets to Morocco, he will share them. But right home, the parents were told that they were going for housemaid or nanny.
So in a situation where you catch people like this,
yes,
what do you do to them?
We arrest them and send them to the appropriate agency.
Some of the appropriate agencies being?
Yes, NAPTIC.
NAPTIC.
Yes.
Okay. All right, but we've also had cases of immigration officers compromising. Let's talk internally now. So who use their position and their influence to say because they are officers, they have access to these things, and then they make fake visas and do other things, try to smuggle people out of the country. What do you do to cases like that?
I'm not aware of any immigration officer who may smuggle person out of the country. I can speak to you authoritatively that no immigration officer will do that. Reason? He too has access to the embassy. If he wants to apply for visa, he does not need to struggle. He will use the normal process to do it, and the service can assist him. But for immigration officer to smuggle somebody out, I don't think that story is true. I'm not aware anyway, but that cannot be true. Because, you see, there's what we call proximity in borderline. You see, because we are very close to Niger, okay? There is language affinity. You may not be able to define whether it's a Sokoto Adamawa man or a Nigerian because of the language affinity. Coming closer down, you have people from Benin who are residing in Igolo, or who are residing in Idiroko, or some are residing in Semeboda. They intermingle, and some, they can speak the Egun language fluently. So in that case, if they are now going and they say immigration officer is assisting them, it won't be an immigration officer wearing uniform who has gone to do that type of job. We have some of them, they are touts. They are the agents that we are talking about, fake ones, who claim they are immigration. To get someone clearer, I wore a mufti, went to a passport office, entering, and the tout is telling me that, do you want to take passport, sir? I said, yes. He said, please call me. He wanted to take me to inside the truck. But unfortunately, I told him, you are the people destroying immigration. I asked you now, you are an officer? You said yes. Because I didn't wear uniform, he didn't know me. These are the people that are surrounding the areas where they operate illegally.
You've also mentioned, I'm glad that you also mentioned that Libya is a transit point for many migrants trying to reach Europe.
From the story we had.
Now, do you have a rapport? Do you have a relationship with Libyan authorities to stem this problem?
Well, the service headquarters is supposed to, it will give you brief on that one. Because when they wanted to collect these people from Libya, when those, I think they said they were stranded or somehow, maybe the IOM was the person who wanted to assist them, they have to contact the Foreign Affairs. So it's the Foreign Affairs that went for their repatriation. So it's not an immigration something. But the service headquarters will have reason, or we have genuine answer for such. If we have Libya and Nigerian bilateral talk about that one, the federal government is doing something about that one, I'm sure.
Now, going back to the issue of passport, now, how can we ease the stress of
Very
getting
shortly,
passports?
the service is providing a enabling environment now to use passport. The Controller General, Mr. Muhammad Babande, the MFR, has launched the use of POS to make passport easier for payment and to remove this kind of racketing or getting passport on time, because the delay could be cumbersome sometimes. But Nigerians are in a hurry. You can imagine, if you want a passport today, you will tell me you want urgent passport. I don't know the meaning of urgency, because when you enter, when you wanted to take your passport, you make payment, you go for scanning. The machine will tell you when to come and collect. But Nigeria will not wait. If the machine tells you come in October 23rd, it will tell you that, October 23rd is too long. I can't wait. I'm traveling on Thursday. He has not taken visa. Even some of them, the visa page have not exhausted. Even the first one he took, which have taken 5 years and lapsed, he has not used it. But here is the man rushing to immigration office and demanding for passport. How is he going to get one within 2 days? So, but presently, the service is doing a lot to reduce the tension. Very soon, we shall smile, taking the passport with ease.
All right, we'll take your word for it. Very soon we shall
smile.
Yes,
very soon we shall smile.
All right, so we'll go on a short break now, and when we return, there will be more information. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to the program. I'm still in the studio with the Deputy Comptroller of Nigeria Immigration Service, Lagos State Command, Rufus Oweye. Now you are in a place of authority to tell us the correct, accurate information on getting procedures for applications for visa. So please, could you please provide that information for us?
In terms of visa, we have two methods of obtaining visa. First one, you can obtain the visa from the country where the foreigner is coming from. If he's coming from India, he can go to our Nigerian High Commission office and take the visa. Then we have the one that we call visa on arrival. The federal government make the business, the easy rules of business, that we should be able to get visa on arrival. And it is meant for some investors or frequent flyers who are businessmen who want to come to Nigeria on a short notice. Because of the time they are going to spend in obtaining visa in their country, we now told them that the federal government said they should come to Nigeria, they will give them visa on arrival. But it has a little procedure. First, the person who wants to come can apply through an email from his country to Controller General of Immigration in Abuja. Or the company that is expecting him or that is coming to visit, which is representative here in Nigeria, can apply directly to the Controller General's office to seek approval. When approval is granted, it is sent to the copy of the approval is sent to the man who applies for it in his country. Then, or the representative gets a hard copy from our office in Abuja. Before you can issue the approval, you must have, one, the evidence of ticket. Your passport must be valid not less than 6 months. A letter of application bearing immigration responsibility of the man coming. And you must have an itinerary to show when to come and when to go back. Then you must have the time of arrival, the flight arrival, then the airline involved, so that they will send all the documents to respective airport, because you are coming on ticket. So if you have all those ones, plus the data page of the passport of the man, where they are going to see is a passport number. With all those relevant documents, the Controller General will give approval and will send it to the man who is coming or to his representative in Nigeria. Right. When the man comes, or when he wants to board, he will show the airline the copy of the approval to show that he will take visa on arrival in Nigeria. On arrival in Nigeria, he should proceed, the visitor now proceed to immigration desk where they marked visa on arrival desk. Before his arrival, he must have made an online payment with acknowledgement receipt and pay slip that he has paid. He will give his passport, the acknowledgement slip, that's evidence of payment, and show his return ticket to the airline, to the visa officer on the desk. Then they can now issue him a visa. Some of them may not have paid when they were coming. Right there, he can make payment with his MasterCard. It's allowed, but we don't take cash.
Thank you so much, and we wish you all the very best. And we thank you again for protecting our borders and trying to keep our country safe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.